Chef Bob back here at Bertolino Test Kitchen in fabulous Studio 5. Today we are going to do a quick beef stir fry, but we're going to marinate our shaved steak and then we're going to come back in a little bit. We're going to saute up the vegetables and we're going to serve it with a little steamed rice. So we'll start off with our shaved steak. And just like we did in a previous video, these pieces are a little large, which is nice for shaved steak sandwiches and other things, but we just got to put a little bit of a cut on them to kind of break up the pieces so they're better for our stir fry. Take our handy dandy little resealable bag, put the shaved steak pieces in there, just a touch of soy sauce and a smidge of grated ginger. Seal it up. Make sure all the marinade is all up and around. There we go. Now that we have this nice and marinated, it's ready to put in our refrigerator. We're going to come back in an hour, although you can let this sit all the way up to overnight if you need to. Be back in a minute. So I've got my marinated beef. It's been sitting for about an hour. And now we're going to put a little cornstarch in there because we're going to do a quick fry on this before we saute our vegetables. So again, keep it in the bag. There we go. We'll make sure that we're all mixed up. There we go. Now, here's one of the things we have to remember. Once we add the cornstarch, we can't let this sit too long. If we let it sit too long, that cornstarch is going to get sticky and mushy, and we're not going to be able to get a good, nice, crisp fry on it. So once I add the cornstarch, I have working time, probably 15-20 minutes, but I personally wouldn't want to go much beyond that. I'm going to turn my wok on, although if you don't have a wok at home, you're more than welcome to use a saute pan, but you want to make sure that with the saute pan, it's got a high enough side because we're going to do a little frying and we're going to have a significant amount of oil in here to begin with, and I just don't want to see it bubble and pop and splatter all over the place. The wok has got pretty high sides, so we can keep the oil deep enough to fry. But when you do it at home, if you don't have a wok, you want to make sure that you have a saute pan with high sides so that you can get it deep enough to fry, but it doesn't make a mess all over the place. So here we go. The wok is getting hot. I'm going to add about a cup of oil. We want to make sure that gets nice and hot. Quick there. That should make a nice sizzling sound when it's hot enough. You can do it the old school way and take a chopstick, stick it in oil, and if the chopstick, which has naturally trapped moisture in it, starts to bubble and pop, as soon as it hits the oil, you know your oil's hot enough. Alright, now before I start frying, it's also important to make sure that we have a place for this to go because we're going to cook in batches. And if we don't have a place to go and you wind up having to keep it in there while you go get a plate, you go get a thing, you're going to wind up burning your wonderfully prepared beef. So right now I've got a little bit of a tiny sheet pan and a straining implement. And the oil is nice and hot. We're just going to add pinches of our beef. on this. I'll cook this up, and then we'll do a second batch. Here we go. So what you're looking for is while this fries, it's going to turn a nice golden brown, roasted brown color, and that's what we're looking for before we pull it out. So I want to make sure that we get there. There we are. All right, now. Now we can do this second batch, make sure that gets back up to temp. We're going to do a little quick stir fry on the vegetables, finish it with the sauce, serve it with a little steamed rice. Here we go. I poured off my oil. I've got a little residual oil left in it, just to kind of stuck from the side of the wok. This is plenty to do what we need to do. A little bit of fresh grated ginger, some diced peppers, that around. Make sure that ginger gets nice and fragrant. And once that ginger gets fragrant, we're going to add our onions, we're going to add our beef, and we'll add our sauce and finish it with a little bit of scallion. Thinly sliced onions. Didn't mention it before, but I got a little fresh grated ginger right here. Fresh grated garlic right here. Looks like we need a touch more. Let this go until the onions just slightly soften. Once we get there, we want to keep our vegetables nice and crisp, and then we'll add our sauce and our beef, and we'll be good to go. Onions are soft. Add our beef. All right, so here is our stir-fry sauce. This is soy sauce, touch of brown sugar, cornstarch, and beef stock. You can use water, you can use chicken stock as well. I just like the beef stock because, hey, we're dealing with beef here, and it seems to go. We're going to put that in. There we go. Cook until it just starts to thicken. Throw in your scallions. And there we have it.